I was a senior in high school, and I was an avid basketball player. Basketball was my first love, and we were playing a league game against a team that we really wanted to beat. I was a really traditional, conventional, competitive male athlete. We were up by 1 point with 10 seconds to go, and we thought our victory was sealed. The other team hit a shot with 5 seconds to go, and my teammates were crushed. It's as if you could see the air go out of their lungs. And a deadly calm descended upon me, and I walked over to my coach, who was also my high school English teacher, and I put my hand on his shoulder and I said, "Tell them not to panic and to get me the ball." We rolled the ball into half court. The clock didn't start winding down the last 5 seconds until I touched the ball. I turned and I started dribbling up court. When I turned and started dribbling up court, something strange and unexpected happened. The gym went cathedral silent. I couldn't hear the thumping of sneakers. I couldn't hear the scream of the crowd. It's as if I was in a zone of calmness, serenity, clarity. There was no pressure and there was no fear. I sensed it was time to shoot the ball. There were about 1 second left on the clock. I jumped in the air, and the guy who was guarding me was about 6'2", and his hands went in my face. So as I released the ball, I couldn't see the rim. And then my feet hit the ground. I was still in this zone of complete quiet. And I looked up at the scoreboard and it said Woodmere 52, Fieldston 50, and I realized we had won. And then I looked at the net, and the net went skyward the way it did when we buried a shot. There was a kind of law of physics that us basketball players knew, which is if you had a high arcing shot and it went downward cleanly through the rim, the net would go up. So I saw that net up, and then my best friend reminded me recently that I pounded the air as if I had defeated death. In the locker room, everybody was exuberant and was jumping all over me, and I was kind of strangely quiet. I was a real competitive male athlete. Victory was the most important, the only thing to me, but something had happened in that last 5 seconds that sort of stirred my soul. There's a line from a surrealistic poet, Paul Eluard: "There is another world, and it is in this one." And I think in the last 5 seconds of that game, that other world opened up. The possibility of living more in the moment, of not feeling pressure or fear, of being unself-conscious, and of performing at the highest level, except there not being very much ego there. And that became both an inspiration for the rest of my life, up till today, and it also became a question, 2 questions really. What happened in the last 5 seconds of that game? And how could I access that altered state of consciousness again? In college, I studied humanities. I was an English major at Princeton, and I read widely in art history and philosophy and religion, but I never really answered those 2 questions. After college, I began reading more spiritual and mystical works: Buddhism, yoga, Christian philosophy, mysticism, Jewish mysticism, all over the place. And then I began practicing meditation, and then answers began to reveal themselves. But that moment still stays with me even to today. That possibility of being in the moment, living unself-consciously, and living with more authenticity and passion.